Welcome back to MMA Oddsbreaker. Today we got Christos Giagos here, the Spartan, getting ready to fight, coming up here on UFC Fight Night, June 6th. In New Orleans, of course, the main event's Dan Henderson and Tim Boetsch. Let's talk about Chris Wade real quick before we get into your personal stuff. Record-wise, you guys are pretty close. He's only got one loss at 9-1, and you've got three losses at 11-3. But that doesn't really tell the full story of kind of how this fight's going to break down. How do you see this fight? Coming apart, and what do you think it's going to be more played on the feet or more played on the ground?
I'm hopefully it's going to be played on the feet. You know what I mean? I feel like my stand-up's a little better than his, and I know he has a big wrestling background, so I'm hoping it goes to the feet. I hope I can stuff his takedowns and keep it on the feet, but you just never know. When you're in a fight, you get all this adrenaline, and sometimes he catches you the takedown, sometimes he doesn't.
The question is then, you get taken down, you can be able to get back up to your feet right away. You've been working on quite a bit of defending yourself and getting back up to your feet. Are you going to play a game where you're going to be on your back and try to do a bunch of submissions from the canvas?
No, probably not trying submissions off my back. I know I'm losing the fight off my back. I'm trying to get up. So, yes, I've been working a lot on getting back to my feet. And I know he has a good guillotine, he has a good choke game. So I just got to watch that and hopefully get back to my feet and, keep it back. And I'm not going to be, I might try to take him down too. You know what I mean? I have a little bit of a wrestling background, and I know he doesn't do well off his back. So if I see the opportunity, I'm going to go for the takedown as well.
That was actually one of my other questions, that are you going to try and take him down or not? Because I do see, I have seen that he doesn't have that much of a good backdrop on him. He doesn't do very well from his back. He's kind of a top game guy.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't get his own way, he tends to fall apart a little bit. So.
Yeah, so I noticed that too from his one loss that I've got to watch. So I felt he wasn't that good off his back, and he has good scrambles. He likes to break away and try to get up real fast. So if I get on top, just try to pressure him down and hopefully get the submission or get the knockout on the feet.
Now you look at UFC.com is a great way of breaking down your fights and making things look, they break it down so like the casual fan, the new fan can look in and go, okay, how does this work out? Like Chris Wade, he never wins by KO or TKO. Okay, but 55% of your wins are that way. Subs are pretty close at 33%, 27%. Decisions, obviously, he has a lot more decisions than you do, so he wins majority of his fights are by decision. So he's obviously gonna be a tough guy to put away, and everything's kind of even. Then you get to striking accuracy, and this one surprised me because you're a very active fighter, but your accuracy for landing is only 46%. Well, he's not very active when it comes to striking, but every time he throws, he seems to land it. It's 71%. Now, from a casual fan, I'm looking at that and I'm going, okay, so Chris Wade's the better striker, because I'm a casual fan. I haven't really watched fights.
Yeah.
But a guy that watches fights like you and I, we sit and watch it, and you're like, well, but Chris hardly ever throws. Like, he doesn't really throw that many punches. So if he's landing 71% of the time, but he's throwing 10 punches and landing 7, versus me throwing 100 punches and landing 46, like, who wins? So do you feel the same way, that you're so much more of an active fighter on your feet, that even though he has the higher landing percentage, that you're still going to have the better striking game?
Yeah. That's just based on our 2 fights in the UFC, and one of his fights gone the distance, so he had a chance to throw a lot more. Yep. So I still think I'm a better striker from watching his fights.
Okay.
And I'm sure if they showed all the fights, stats wise, it'd be different. But yeah, my 2 fights in the UFC both ended in the first round. One was a loss, one was a win. So, and there wasn't much striking involved, because one I got taken down and one I took the guy down. So like, the fans haven't got to really see my stand-up game, and I'm hoping to prove and show all of them what I can do.
You got on my radar around, I forget, I want to say he had it was like Thor or something.
Thor Skanky.
Yeah, okay, that's kind of when you got on my radar. I picked that up. Someone sent me a feed of that one, and of course I commentated on Dakota Cochran when he was fighting in Titan, and then of course when you fought him in RFA and you finished that fight in the second round. That was a pretty significant fight. I felt like there was a big step up in competition fighting Dakota, but you seem to handle it so well. Was the mindset going into training camp, hey, this is a step up in competition, this is a higher level guy than me, but this is definitely a challenge I'm ready for? Was it one of those, or did you not even realize that it was a step up in competition?
I knew it was a big step, especially from the guys he's beat, Efren, who won the Ultimate Fighter, Joe Stevenson. So, it got to me. I was like, man, this guy's good. He's a tough guy. So I made sure when I got in there, like, I want to come at him. I don't want to look scared. I don't want to back off. I know he does good coming forward, so I wanted to come at him, and so that's what I did. You know what I mean? And yeah, it
it
was a good
worked
fight.
out. Now let's talk about Gilbert Burns. That's your first fight in the UFC.
Yeah.
I've talked about it before. The UFC is a whole new animal. I don't care how many fights you had, how experienced you are. You get in there, the media, the pressure, so now you realize that you're in the big leagues. I now have a shot. If I play my cards right, I can make millions of dollars because, I can get in the right game. I can talk myself. If I have the right entertainment value, I can make millions of dollars. Like, all this starts going into your head. With that being said, what happened during that fight? You get caught with a submission. You get caught in the first round, right with 3 seconds left. Right at the end of the first round. What was going on? And be honest. Was it the nerves? Was there an injury? Was something going on at home? What was going
No, there
on?
was nothing going on at home. I had a great training camp. No injuries. It was just my own fault. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to keep it standing. He got the takedown, and I was so impatient on just getting up, and I felt like I didn't even know there was 20 seconds left because it was so loud. So like, I was like, I got frustrated from being on the ground so long. I kicked off the cage rather than just waiting it out and going to the next round, which I should have done. But I was just so impatient, and I wanted to get to my feet. It kicked off the cage. He executed a perfect armbar, and my arm popped a couple times, and I was like, it's not worth it. I'm getting out of there. You know what I mean?
And that's smart. And that, even though you were impatient, which is the action of a young fighter, you showed the action of a seasoned fighter by going, look, I got to continue to fight. I could break my arm, but I don't want to be out like Nogueira and Frank Mir and be like, well, crap, I'm out of here now because my arm is snapped off. I got to sit up and get through it. So in both fights, within seconds of each other, you showed the inexperience, but you also showed your experience at the same time. So it was, from a mindset standpoint, it was good to see. As a fan, it was good to see you compete like that and go, okay, look, he's a little frustrated. It's a little out of character for him. Oh, okay, he's getting smart. He's not going to try and fight this thing out. Because I would have, if I had heard, and gotten frustrated, I had heard that the clapper go off and knew there's less than 10 seconds left. I would have just let him keep popping and try to force my way through the last 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And there's no shot it would have kept. I could have easily got my arm dislocated. So that was a really good move on your part. But with that going said, you move in now to Dear Oliveira as your next fight. And you seem to have a completely different level of confidence, which is why I was asking about the Gilbert fight, because you had a complete level difference of confidence. You seem to have a better mindset when you walked in there. What was the difference between those two fights? One, you get frustrated because of the takedown. The other one, you're kind of like, and then you end up getting a rear naked choke in that one.
Well, the first fight, I flew all the way to Brazil, and it was so loud. Obviously, a lot of fans came to see Jose Aldo, so getting booed so much walking in there. It was a different experience, and then I started getting psyched out. I'm not gonna say take nothing away from Gilbert. He beat me fair and square. But yeah, so the second fight, it was like deja vu. I went to the same place in Brazil, same flight, same neighborhood. Everything was the same. So it was like my second chance. You know what I mean? And I've been there already, so I knew what to expect. So I got pretty confident just because I was more familiar with it, and I knew what to expect this time, and it actually helped out a lot. You know what I mean? A lot of people told me, "You're going back to Brazil? What? And I was like, you know what? It's not that bad. You know what I mean? So I got there. I knew my ground game was going to be better than his, and that's what I trained for. And the fight went exactly how I planned it was going to go.
It looked good. So let's talk about Chris Wade now. So you've got a win, got a loss. You're 50-50 walking into the UFC. This fight's in a different location. It's not Brazil again. Now you're just going to Louisiana, which is a little bit better. But it is New Orleans, so it's a little crazy down there. It's a big card. You're early on the card, so when you show up, you have to go early. You fight. You're done. You get to watch the rest of the cards. You get to see all these other fighters, get out there and compete. You don't have to worry about trying to watch your favorite fighter while you're trying to warm up. You get to watch these guys later. What's it going to be like going against Chris? What do you think the mentality is going to be? First, let's talk about just like your mental aspect. What's that going to be like when you walk in there?
My mental aspect's going to be good. I'm pretty. Like I say, I'm confident I'm going to win. I know I can beat this guy, but I know he's tough. So I'm going to be just mentally prepared. I'm going to go at him. You know what I mean? I know he's going to come at me, him. So just mentally, I think I'm okay. Nothing wrong. I'm not. or anything like that. I'm mentally prepared for sure.
And of course, we're talking about nerves of when you show up someplace, getting ready for a fight, and you're trying to project and predict how you're going to feel. And there's no way to predict that. It's just like you're going to feel how you feel when you walk in. And you have to deal with. If you have nervous, you got to deal how to calm it down. If you're a little bit too calm, you have to deal with trying to get it back up and find that medium pace. So I'm asking to really analyze something that is an unknown, and it's tough to analyze, like going into someplace new. So let's talk about Chris Wade. Obviously, he's good on top. If he takes you down, he's good on top. He'll ground and pound you. Not very good from his back, so you're going to try and take him down. And you talked about that earlier, but what do you think, like, his mindset's going to be coming into this fight? He's seen your fights, in the UFC. Yeah. He's seen a lot of your fights, career-wise, a lot of tape on you, so it's very easy to watch what's going on with you. What do you think he's going to try to exploit?
I feel like he's going to feel me out in the beginning because I'm not sure if he got to see a lot of my stand-up. So he might think I'm a ground guy. He might want to strike with me. I know he has a little bit of an amateur kickboxing background, so I'm sure he'll feel me. But once he feels like a couple strikes from me, I don't think he's going to like it, and he's going to try to wrestle me. So I'll be expecting that for sure. Hopefully he's going to pin me against the cage. I'm just going to break away, get back to the middle of the cage, and hopefully I can just have the whole fight like that or until I knock him out. But if I feel like, he's getting frustrated and he's getting desperate, it'll be my opportunity to take him down and hopefully I can do some damage on top.
Well, I really appreciate coming on here with MMA Oddsbreaker. That's a great breakdown of the fight. I see the fight going the same way. I feel like that, it's going to be that filling out period when you hit him first, because I do believe your hands are better on the feet. I think he's got a little bit more power, but you have a little bit more accuracy, and you can spend some more time hitting him. I do think it's going to be a wrestling game, but once you get hit, it's going to become a wrestling game, and it's going to be a decision on your part. Mm-hmm. I have to decide to keep it on my feet and do everything I can to keep it on my feet, or I have to make a decision at some point I'm going to get on top of him, or you have to save energy and concede and find a way to get back up to your feet.
Yeah.
That's the game I see happening. That's how I see it playing out, and you broke it down the same way that I see it happening out too. So it's going to be, for me, this is a great fight. It's early on the card. It's on Fight Pass, I believe. Is that correct?
No, I'm actually on FS2.
On FS2. Okay, I apologize. So you're going to be on FS2, and this is one of those fights where I try to tell everybody, like, this card, you've got to be there from the very beginning to the very end. The matchmaking that's come along quite a bit for all these last couple of cards, and this is one of those where you'll be able to sit there and watch from the very beginning. Your fight's one of those fights I'm really looking forward to.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
All right, take care. Have a great rest of the day. We'll speak with you soon.
Congratulations on the Hall of Fames, by the way.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, total surprise. Came out of nowhere. Didn't even realize it was going to happen, and all of a sudden, here it is. It's one of those things now. For the rest of my life, I have a legacy for my kids. It's perfect.
Yeah, there you go. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, no worries. Thank you.